Matt, Scotty was in here earlier and he said, I don't know how Matt's hitting it farther than he was months ago. Maybe he's on the Bryson plan.
I know a lot of you watched Matthew Fitzpatrick win the US Open. I only caught the last hole or so because I was stuck in a 5.5 hour round of golf. That's Vegas for you. I'm a little sunburnt, but I started to go through what happened, what transpired, and what was shocking to me was the fact that now Matthew Fitzpatrick is a beast off the tee. And then I had to remember, wasn't this the same guy a few years ago who was bashing Bryson DeChambeau and saying he was making a mockery of the game and that he was unimpressed with Bryson's newfound distance gains? And then this guy, this little 155-pound Matthew Fitzpatrick, is now a beast off the tee himself. Lesson unlearned. I don't know what Matthew Fitzpatrick was trying to teach us by this, but he's just reinforced the point that you need to go beast mode off the tee. If you're not hitting it 315 to 325, you're a short knocker. You have no place on the tour.
How did you do it? How did you remake yours?
I've done my drugs test and it was negative, so we're all good. I just, since 2020, I spent a lot of time working with Mike Walker, and which is my coach, and a biomechanist, Sasha McKenzie. So
this is Matt Fitzpatrick from less than 2 years ago. It's not a skill to hit the ball a long way, in my opinion. I could put on 40 pounds, I could go and see a biomechanist, and I could gain 40 yards. That's actually a fact. And now you're seeing a biomechanist, and you are hitting it a lot further. Weird. I'm not just gonna say the word weird. I'm gonna also explain why it's weird. Why was Matt Fitzpatrick so against distance when obviously the best players, not just Bryson, but Jon Rahm, DJ, Scheffler, they're all known as bombers of the golf ball. And to his second point, that he could put on 40 pounds, it's actually quite difficult. And I don't know why you're against it if you are 155 pounds. Seems like you would want to gain the 40 pounds just for self-esteem purposes, just so you're not wearing size medium golf shirts. Just something to think about.
We did a little bit then, and he gave me this speed stick called the Stack. I've been doing that religiously, week in, week out. It's like going to the gym, basically. It's just like a training program. And I'll be honest, it's worked wonders. I feel like, maybe 3 years ago, if I was in this position 4 years ago, and I was playing with Will in the final group, I'd be like concerned that I'm going to be 15, 20 behind him.
3 or 4 years ago, Matt Fitzpatrick would have been 20 to 30 yards behind Will Zalatoris and could have used that opportunity as Will was walking past Matt to get to his much longer tee ball and told him, hey, listen, you know what? I'm not impressed with that drive.
And I was, I felt comfortable all day that I was going to be past him, which to me gives me confidence, obviously, going into the next shot, knowing that you've got less club. And I don't know, there's a bit of a mentality thing that when you're hitting it past people, it's quite nice.
I learned from Bryson that it does seem awesome to blow it by people. But I'm glad you're catching on too, Matt Fitzpatrick.
Can you just take us through what happened on 15? I mean, you guys wait for 10 minutes on 15. You hit it way right, and then you hit an unbelievable shot there. What was that sequence like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize how far right it had gone. I should have shouted 4, so I hope I didn't hit anyone there. But, it's funny. I feel like all year we've just had moments where just not caught a break, just not had a lie, just not had a bounce. And this time I get there and the ball's sitting perfectly. And it was one of the best shots hit all day. It was a 5-iron from 220. And
Matt cannot stop flexing about how far he hits it. 225 iron, no biggie.
Hitting it to 18 feet it was a great shot. So to to do that and take advantage of the break that I had was fantastic.
We're going to go to the right, Ben, and then Alan.
You stole my thunder a little bit, but just back on the length, I know you keep your stats on everything as you go. So was there a moment after you started the training and whatever where you went, okay, this is happening? Can you take me through the progression?
Yeah, I mean, just before, probably end of 2020, I started doing it.
If you look at the time frame of just before the end of 2020, it must have been a week after he came out on record bashing guys going for distance, in particular Bryson DeChambeau. Very bizarre.
Did it loads over the winter, and I came to Abu Dhabi, and I felt like I was hitting it so far in Abu Dhabi. And I shot a 62 in practice, in the practice round, and I was like, this is easy. It's like you're just hitting it miles and then you wedge it on and hold the putt, you know?
Yes, it's called bomb and gouge. It's been around forever, and I guess you're on team bomb and gouge now.
And then as I played the season, it was kind of the same thing. I was, hitting it decent, and then I came off it in 2021 around summertime. Few things going off and a couple of injuries, and I stopped doing it. But then towards the end of it kind of coincided with when I was driving it poor is when I stopped.
I learned in a golf lesson that a lot of good things happen naturally in the swing when you produce a lot of club head speed.
So it's improved my driving, not only length, but just overall everything.
You mean like, as Bryson said, he doesn't just hit it farther, he hits it straighter?
And since I've been hard on it from the start of this year, I've noticed an even bigger jump, and without really feeling like I'm going after it. I mean, I saw where Rory was on, I don't know what he hit off the tee, but I saw where Rory was. I saw where Jon Rahm was on 5.
Only a guy with distance envy would be noting where Rahm and McIlroy were and bad-mouthing Bryson DeChambeau a few years ago.
Again, don't know what John hit, but for me, just hitting driver and pitching it on the green was, I actually didn't expect that this morning. I thought I was going to be short because a few guys I watched were shorter.
First he says he didn't think he could reach it. Then he notices that other guys didn't reach it, but he was able to. This is the epitome of a humble brag.
And that was kind of a real good indication of where I've got to.
Fitzpatrick wants a one-on-one shot with Bryson DeChambeau. It can happen. It's called Long Drive Championship.
Can you hear the disbelief of the people that are watching you? They're seeing the little guy just smashing?
No, I just don't think they have a clue.
Yeah.
I think that they watch it come off the face, they're like, oh, cool, yeah. But then actually when you get down there and it's a lot further up there, I think that's probably when you realize.
My guy cannot contain his joy about being a beast off the tee. So why did you have to bash it a few years ago? You love it. Everyone at home, if you love smashing it off the tee, then smash that like button. Get in the comment section and say, hey, I'm not embarrassed about this. I love it.
Far right to Alan.
Matt, for those who don't
Hi,
know,
Alan.
Hi. For those of us who don't know Sheffield, what kind of place is it, and how did that shape you as a person and a competitor?
Here it gets very origins story. No need.
Sheffield, where I grew up playing golf, Hallamshire, windy, tough, tight, really small greens.
I'm actually surprised that Fitzpatrick at no point mentioned the fact that his father had to chop up the family piano and use it as wood to keep the family warm because they had no money in the winter, which would have actually been stealing from Billy Elliot, a movie which also doesn't really make sense because you'd actually make more money for housewood to burn as heating source by selling the piano rather than chopping it up and throwing it into the fireplace. Matt Fitzpatrick's childhood seems to be one part Bon Jovi song, one part Bruce Springsteen song, and one part Journey song. I predict that Matt Fitzpatrick puts on 40 pounds within the next year. That's the Bryson DeChambeau effect.